How's it going, YouTube? And welcome back to My Comic Life, where I have too many comics! I have been a bad comic reader. I have been a horrible comic reader. Sad to say, I am 2 months behind on my comics. I know. So, starting now, I am just going to go and try to catch up as much as possible, because each and every week we get a new set of comics. And with that, I am once more behind. So, I looked at my letterbox site, and it tells me all the books I picked up and all that different type of fun stuff. And I think the website's Letterbox. But anyways, it has all my comics and everything like that. So, I looked, and I am like 100 books behind, so I am going to do my best to catch up before next month starts. So with this, we're going to start off with March, and I got 5 books here that I just want to talk about, and hopefully you guys will stick around, because this is kind of like could be like a mini series. Hopefully I don't get too far behind, but it's called Too Many Comics! And for each video, I'll talk about 5 different comics from that week, and my thoughts on them, because when you're reading them and you just get so much thoughts, you're like, oh, but it's been months since this book came out. No, I just need to get my thoughts out there. It's my thing I love to do for fun. And so let's start talking about some comics. These are all comics that came out the first week of March. We have Astro City Hustle. Now, I do know that I did talk about this book in a previous video. Up until that point, we had no idea that the writer of this book had some big dramas that came out where a woman came forward, or maybe a couple, talking about all the bad things that this writer has done, or whatever has happened. Dark Horse cancels his book, and I'm glad that they did that, because we don't need no sexual predators or anything like that in our comics little group that we have. But dang, this when on my first read, I was a little bit taken back by the whole entire prosthetic of this book, where it's definitely a 70s grindhouse type of film, or where it definitely goes into some very racy things, and it's an exploitation at times, and then it's a pirate book, and it's all a bunch of fun. Sad to say, though, after the second issue, it was cut off. It was a 4-issue miniseries that is not going to be complete. But if you love 70s exploitation films and grindhouse type of films, I think that this one is definitely a book that you would get a kick out of. The coloring in here, let me just take the book out. The coloring in here I really like. There's this one page where, let's see where this page is. If you just look at this, like the coloring in here, I just love all the purples that are in there. It's all really beautiful. But there's this one panel where they're breaking out of prison. I think, yeah. Oh, no, not that page yet. Yeah, this one right here. Where just with the ship and everything, I was just like, wow, there's so much imagination in here. When I first read it, I was kind of put off by the whole entire thing. But the second read, it really was like, wow, this thing could have been something really cool. And I'm glad to have it in my collection, but I'm disappointed in the writer. And I know that the colorist has said a couple things about it. Sad that the book will not be published, because I think he finished it already. But condemning the writer and whatever he has been accused of. Next up, we got Blossom 666, issue number 2. This series is my first foray into the Archie horror universe. I was really intrigued after seeing the Sabrina Netflix series, and knowing that there's a new horror book coming out. I was like, I'll just jump on. And I really like these characters of the Blossom twins. Now, over there, I forget what the town's called, because this is first dive into this foray or into this universe. And I just love these twins. These twins are, one of them will be chosen to be the heir of the devil, to basically, I think, to be the bringer of the apocalypse. And so these twins are looking at maybe sacrificing one of their classmates, and it's some really intriguing stuff. But throughout the issue, we get this new guy who's coming into town, and is all in black and all in shadows, and you don't see who he is. And then the reveal is that the Blossoms now find out that their parents never told them, but they have an older sibling who is going for the throne of the devil. So it's just some cool little stuff in here. The high school drama that happens in this book, it doesn't bother me. It just really feels like lighthearted at times. Then the horror comes in, and Colin Bunn is the writer in here, and he does a terrific job. And the art really, it works. It works for the series. It can be a little bit too, at times, not really much in the way of the backgrounds, but other than that, I really dug this series so far, and to see how some of the cops are part of their church of the devil. And so they're just like really excited to find out which one of them is going to be the heir, and letting them also know that there's someone in town who is investigating them, and how they like to keep their privacy, and he knows this. And then at the end of it, he does like a Hail Hydra type of moment where, he tells them like, "Hail the devil." it's some good stuff, really good stuff in that book. And I am glad to know that I picked up the series, and I remember picking up the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the reprint that came out about 4 or 5 months ago, and seeing how great that art is. That art in that issue was really fantastic. So I'm really intrigued to go and try to find more of these horror Archie comics, and possibly grab some of the regular Archie books. Because I thought I heard, I think it was issue 700, but I may be wrong. But there was a moment where, we hit a milestone, and a new writer came on, and I heard that that's a great jumping off point. So I might just check those out digitally, and then catch up, and then pick up the prints. And then the ending of Cemetery Beach has just happened. This has been a book that I've talked about for quite a while. And I had the same thoughts every single issue. Really, I want something a little bit more. It's definitely like a Mad Max type of scenario where it's just one big chase, and our heroes are trying to get to Cemetery Beach so our main guy can get to Earth and tell him about all the things he saw on this alternate planet. Because there was a time where science, and we were able to go to a different planet, and so these different group went to that planet, and he then was tasked by his government to go and check out and see what's going on, because they haven't heard anything from said planet. And after that, it's just go, like the government's after him, and he's just trying to get to his away ship. This issue leaves off on a point where you're just like, okay, there's no way that this is the true ending, that there has to be something more, because at the end it promises us something that seems it seems really big, and it's just really exciting. The art in here is tremendous. Jason Howard, his art is absolutely stunning throughout the book. The momentum that is in this series is just beautiful, and I love the coloring in there, and you really get a sense of this world. They don't tell you much about the world, but when they're on the run and you're seeing all these different creatures and whatnot, you really do get the sense that there's something more. And I really want to dive deep into this world, but Cemetery Beach as a series has not really given you much on the whole entire world. I did read all the issues up until issue number 7, like all in one run, and I had to say, this book is so much better reading it as a binge than it is waiting month to month for single issues. So whoever goes and buys this book in trade paperback, you're in for a really good time. It's fast paced and the action is just top notch. And next up, we got Cosmic Ghost Rider destroys Marvel history. The only reason why I picked this book up was because I loved the character Cosmic Ghost Rider, and knowing that this book is not written by Donny Cates had me kind of going, I don't know if I really want to dive in. But I love the character, so I was like, I'll give the first issue a try. This issue doesn't really do much for me. There's times in here where the humor is a little bit too forced. And we have, the story is, Cosmic Ghost Rider has decided to go back in time, just like he did with Baby Thanos. And he's going to save his family. So before he does that, on the day before the murder, he goes to his house, and his wife opens the door, and he says, I'm uncle of, Frank Castle, and he gets in, he gets to see his son, and his wife is like, all of a sudden, he's like, oh, I gotta go and do such and such. Can you leave? I'll leave you with my son, even though you're a complete stranger to me, and just babysit while I go and do some errands. Bad parenting? Definitely. But Cosmic Ghost Rider, you see the son playing with the Thing action figure, and he can't help himself, but he tells his son, hey, I'm a superhero too, and he gives him the form of Cosmic Ghost Rider. The kid's like, yeah! And then he goes and tells stories of his adventures with the Fantastic Four and how he's messed up the history of the Marvel universe. And I really do dig how the moment that it gets into him messing with the universe or with the history, it goes into, it looks just like something that would have been in it looks like something that would have came out back in the day. But all in all, I would say that the writing in here, or the humor, feels very forced at times. The art is okay, not perfect. The story, I'm just kind of like, we've already seen, and the weird thing is that in Donny Cates' Cosmic Ghost Rider miniseries, there's a point in there where Thanos, who was raised by Frank Castle, he has took up the mantle as the Punisher, and he went and saved Frank's family from dying, and he takes them to a planet, and it just looks like paradise until you see that everything's just really destroyed, and you get to see, and you already seen Cosmic Ghost Rider seeing his family and the horror of him knowing that even though he saved his family, he still became, it was inevitable he was going to come who he is at this very moment. And there's nothing he could have done to change it. And so it made me wonder, like, why is he now, after seeing what would happen or what does happen, even if he does save him, it doesn't matter. He's still going to become this cosmic being. And so it at times it feels like a retread. And I definitely will be reading the series once it comes on to Marvel Unlimited. So I'll definitely be checking that book out, seeing where it went. Because the ending has a part where Watto, the Watcher, makes an appearance. And he's like, hey, don't mess this. You can't mess with this timeline. Like, no. So, some good stuff there. But there was definitely, it wasn't as strong as the Cosmic Ghost Rider miniseries. Die issue number 4. Die is a terrific series. The art is just mind-blowing. The way that this book is painted is just absolutely brilliant. The storyline is that a group of kids back in the 80s or 90s, I think it was the 90s, They all got together for a party, and they were playing this role-playing game. They got sucked into the role-playing game, and then later on in life, they got out, but one of them is still in the Die universe. And they moved on with their life, and they always were thinking, what about our friend that's stuck in this world? And then the friend, it got a message out to him. They all got it back together to go and help out their friend. Come to find out that their friend is basically taken over this universe and is basically like a god there. And he is now playing with them. He's like the DM, and they're his chess piece, and they're just off on this venture. And they want answers of why he sent them a message and why they went in there and why he's messing with them. Because it seems like he is this all-power being. He could have gone home a long time ago. And there's this glass building that they go into, this glass city, that has a statue of said friend. And the friend has said, all right, you're going to go to get to me, to talk to me. You have to go to these dungeons, do these tasks. And then they get the idea. Why don't we burn the city down that he so seems like he loves? And that's where like the leaves off in this cliffhanger that we're just like, oh my God, I gotta read the next issue. And I got the next issue. But I'm gonna read it in order of what week I got it. Because that's sometimes there's something to say about reading all these independent books. When I'm reading all these independent books, every single issue, I feel like I am in a different world. When I am just reading Marvel and DC, I know I'm in the same universe. I'm kind of getting the same beats every single time. Now, there are those exceptions of those superhero books that just seem so different and so good. But for me, with this channel and with my reading, I am going to focus a lot more on the independent side. And since I got this great job now and I'm getting paid really well, I am picking up a lot more books. Like this on my discount comic services order I just did. I did a video on the Marvel and DC stuff. I decided I'm going to remove most of them, but I picked up a whole bunch of truly independent books. So what I want to do is I want to have a spotlight, an independent, I think I'm going to call it Indie Spotlight, where I'm going to spotlight one series that just finished up or wrapped up, and it's going to be coming out in trade paperback. I'm going to be doing a look back at Wolfborn, which is a 3-issue, I think it's by Source Point Press, and it's a terrific miniseries that dives deep into the pain of losing or having a loved one leave you, and how to move on with that pain. And it's just a really beautiful story. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing some more of these. I got too many comics. Little mini series that I'm doing now with this channel, and I plan on looking back at some Marvel runs from different writers. I want to start at the beginning of Jason Aaron's run on Thor, which would be really cool to do with the God Butcher and up to now. And with Marvel Unlimited, I'm able to do it because I could read it all just right here, just with that $9.99 price tag each month. And with DC Unlimited now having all their comics on their site, I really don't see a point in me buying all these Marvel and DC stuff, knowing that about a year for DC, but 6 months for Marvel, I'll be able to read it all anyways. So I'm going to be doing a little series, or I'm going to be doing a series on Marvel stuff and DC stuff, so you get that fixed from this channel, and talk about all the current independent books. And hopefully soon I'll be all cut up before, what was it? It's May now, so June, before June. So this is my my comic life. This is too many comics, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below, how far behind are you in your comic reading? because I'm really far. So, I'll catch you guys next time on my comic.